Well, how's this for my Canada Day show look? All right, everyone. I know you're probably making fun of me, and that's okay. It says hockey. It says it's Canada. All right. Well, anyway, happy Canada Day, or at least what's left of it, because here's the cold, hard truth about Canada Day. It just doesn't feel the same anymore, does it? Well, not since 2015. There's probably good reason for that, but something's off. And I think of a lot of us, we know it. Deep down, we know it. However, today, we're not going to try to stay too negative with a rant here. We're going to actually go through what is going on in Canada, at least not at first, anyway. We're going to remember. We're going to remember when July 1st meant something to you, when it felt like a celebration, where you'd wear ridiculous hats like this, and it didn't feel like a freaking eulogy every day. Let's talk about 20 unforgettable Canada Day memories that I'm sure you've all had, that all happened probably before 2015. And then we'll get into some real talk about why we don't make memories like these anymore and why that needs to change back. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things. Happy Canada Day, everybody. Put on your hats, wave your flags. Let's try to get back to the way it used to be. Do you remember the smell of charcoal and ketchup at a local barbecue? Neighbors you didn't even know existed came out of their houses themselves to grill burgers and hot dogs. Now you don't even want to talk to your neighbors. You didn't need a permit. You didn't need to check the QR code on the meat. You just enjoyed it. You put it on the Barbie and you just enjoyed it. And then do you remember the free concerts in town squares? Tragically hip, Sam Roberts, Sloan, real Canadian music, whether you liked it even or not. Not PR safe tokenism. No one policed what lyrics they said and whether they were too patriotic or not. We sang loud and we sang proud. Fireworks that made your chest thump. Launched from barges, from fairgrounds, or someone's backyard, maybe even in the middle of your street. Maybe some sparks landed on your roof. Today, they're either banned, replaced by drone light shows, or called environmentally problematic. Please, it's one day a year. Do you remember kids running through sprinklers in red t shirts? Maybe a white t shirt with a maple leaf on it? Not watching screens, not stuck in apartments, just chasing each other with super soakers. Remember the super soakers? And the red stained popsicle smiles, collecting points off of those popsicle Pete sticks. Do you remember parades that weren't afraid to wave a flag? The maple leaf meant actual unity, not division, not guilt, just pride in where you came from. Pride in the true north, strong and free. Do you remember breakfasts hosted by fire departments on Canada Day? Pancakes and syrup served by real community heroes? No press releases, no politics, nobody trying to send a message, just service for your family to celebrate the day. Do you remember dressing up in red and white without offending anybody? Nobody panicked about the fact that you were wearing Canadian culture. No cultural messaging, just celebrating our country. Full stop. Do you remember spontaneous road trips with no border issues? Just crossed, shopped, came back. No fuel poverty, no fear of your car being tracked or taxed by the kilometer. Do you remember when the CBC actually was broadcasting Canadian information, Canadian music, and storytelling? Before it came a parody of itself, the network? Before it apologized for its own history as a network. I mean, really. Do you remember Canadian flags lining highways? Do you remember them lining your street? Not replaced with any other type of flag, virtue signaling for some other group, but the maple leaf. The maple leaf was the banner. Do you remember going to the cottage without needing 5 permits, perhaps an EV charger, and carbon offset credits? Do you remember hearing "O Canada" sung in harmony instead of controversy? The lyrics weren't up for debate and nobody had changed them. They were a promise. Do you remember local fairs? Remember local fairs? Farmers with farmers markets with actual farmers? Now it's just corporate tents selling fake meat and bank branded bouncy castles where you can sign up for a credit card to get a Tim Hortons gift card. Do you remember seeing a Mountie in red serge and feeling some pride about that? Not political correctness. Do you remember the excitement of Canada Day fireworks on Parliament Hill? You'd actually turn on the CBC to watch it. Crowds of all kinds of Canadians together, not corralled behind fences like they might actually be giant protesters. Do you remember people saying Happy Canada Day without checking over their shoulder whether they might have offended somebody from saying it? Now it's just whispered, hey, Happy Canada Day. Or it's replaced with something like Reflection Day or something like that. Come on. Do you remember school children making Canada Day crafts just before school was over in June? Not apology posters. They made red glitter, pipe cleaners, and construction paper flags, not guilt based assignments. Do you remember Canadian beer? Yeah, Canadian beer. Do you remember the beer commercials that made us laugh and made us so proud to be Canadian? Do you remember the original I Am Canadian, Molson Canadian commercial? Today, that'd probably be canceled by breakfast. However, we also had real conversations around a campfire. Remember that? About hockey season, about fishing. We listened to Tom and Jerry broadcast a Blue Jays game. We talked about travel and hopes, not about lockdowns, inflation, or leaving the country. Do you remember the feeling? You know the one. A warm summer breeze, a cold drink, the smell of a bonfire, and fireworks in the distance. That was Canada Day. But there's a bit of a hard truth right now, a bit of a scary one. Something changed post 2015. Canada Day became something else. It became something else entirely. It became political. It became censored. It became apologetic and disjointed, even dangerous. We've had more division than unity in this country for over a decade, more scandal than celebration, more flags taken down than we've had put up. Canada Day went from a joyful kickoff to the summer season to a tense reminder of a tense, everything's wrong here. Canceled events, police presences, public apologies, politicians hiding behind statements instead of standing on a stage and saying, I love this country. Ask yourself, how many good Canada Day memories have you truly made since the year 2015? Exactly. It's been nothing but mandates, moratoriums, misery. And for a growing number of Canadians, Canada Day now feels like a government sanctioned gaslighting operation. And that's just simply the modern day truth. But we can restore it, we can change it back. We don't have to accept it the way it is. It doesn't have to stay that way. We can fight for Canada. We can fight for a Canada Day that means something again. A day where we don't divide ourselves by race or by gender, by vaccine status, by political stripe, but we can actually come together just for a day, even come together under one flag in one country with one purpose to love and to preserve Canada, like we used to do well over a decade ago. Now, that starts with leadership, not the kind we've had, not the kind that tells you to feel ashamed about yourself, to silence your joy, or to shrink your flag because we've offended people in the past. No, we need leadership that says, you're allowed to be proud of this place. You're allowed to celebrate July the 1st. And you're damn right, you're allowed to wave that flag. Because if we don't restore Canada Day, what are we even holding on to? So, to all of my fellow families out there who are thinking of lighting sparklers in secret, barbecuing in silence, or watching old fireworks videos on YouTube, just remember what it used to feel like. You're not alone. And to everyone who wants that feeling back, who knows Canada is worth fighting for, well, let's bring it back. There's nothing stopping us. Not just July 1st, every day. Let's bring back the love of this country. Happy Canada Day, the way it used to be. Let's make it that way again. Thanks for watching.